How's it going, ladies and bruises? I'm Sixkilla and welcome back to the Zodiac Trial. Now, I thought we were going to be done by now. The last episode ran on for an hour and a half and I had to chop it up into 3 bits because I thought it was going to be the last episode. Maybe this will be the last episode. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we're on the path to it still. Now we're in the second game, the Zodiac bid. Hopefully that'll go well, I guess. Great, then in that case, we've got a plan. Also, dog is dead. So, okay then. Do whatever you want until the 2-minute warning. And like that, people began to disperse. Class dismissed. Frankly, I wasn't so confident everything would go nearly as cleanly as Ox claimed it would. I was also still confused about so many points. There were a lot of mysteries about, and I could feel myself on the cusp of solving at least a few of them. The key had to lie with the incident surrounding Amadeus Bowen's murder. To get to the bottom of it, I needed to interrogate more people. So it was just a matter of who to talk to. Oh my god. Ox? Ox prosecuted Mr. Morris. He should have a thorough grasp of the case. I didn't save. I decided to find him and talk to him about his perspective on all this. How certain am I that Aaron Morris is the culprit? Before all of this, I'd say 100%. And now? Perhaps 95%? It's only 5% lower? Look, the possibility of a grand conspiracy is certainly present, I'll grant you. But I also oversaw a lot of the evidence. Looked through it myself. According to your story, the chief of police might have been trying to give this case a decisive edge, but it's not like he didn't have a good reason. He may have wanted to prevent a bit about the knife coming out, but it was also pretty clear who the killer had to be. None of the people involved had much of a connection before this, so the possibility of accomplices is minimal. A whole cavalcade of evidence points to Aaron Morris, and it's impossible for anyone else to have done it. But that's the thing though. Isn't it kind of suspicious just how obvious Morris was? Wouldn't he have hidden it better? He couldn't have known he'd be found out so quickly? Okay, but there are still things he could have done better. He could have not murdered him in his office, surrounded by people. Like, why send that delayed text to Snake? Doesn't that speed up the process of everyone realizing Bowen was missing? The biggest mistake you're making in all this is taking Snake and Tiger's testimonies for granted. A reasonable person with knowledge of the schedule would probably know to be wary that you might be seen through the waiting rooms. However, you couldn't have expected that Snake would have been such a vigilant watcher, and not just look on his phone or sit in a position that wouldn't give him constant view of the room. Nobody could have. He couldn't have anticipated Rooster barging into the office like that. He couldn't have anticipated Bunny finding the body so quickly. Snake seeing nobody in the office would reinforce his dumb story about Bowen being out of the office when Morris entered. He would have written it off as Bowen having left the office at some point, probably when Sheep went to get breakfast on the first floor as usual. Bowen going missing would be a lot broader. And he still had the stolen master kit, so he could come back at a later date to dispose of the body, not just leave it in a safe like that. I guess when you put it like that, it makes more sense. Face it, Mouse, we got the right man the first time. He had the motive, he was the one who could have stolen all the money out of the safe, he had the bills found in his car, he did it. And if you did get the wrong man? If you had a hand in the execution of an innocent person? Would you be able to admit it? What are you talking about? Of course I'd admit it, why wouldn't I? Oh, I don't know. Oh, there's so many options again. I didn't think we were going to have a ton of options again. Just think about it. What do you mean? Obviously there's a lot going on right now. I don't want to add more to your pile, but I think that's a question that maybe you should consider when you have more time. Okay, I will. With everything settled, I left Ox to himself. Tiger? Tiger was another key witness in the incident. She probably had some insights worth discussing. I paid her a visit in the classroom she was lounging in. That old thing? I really wish people would quit asking me about it. I mean, I get it, I know it was important, but my memory's not really the best, you know? Well, you don't need to run down the whole thing. I just have a few questions for you. Alright, shoot. I feel dumb about what I'm about to ask you now. What? Mouse, don't say that. Believe in yourself. I'm sure you can ask a great question. Okay then. Are you sure you didn't see anyone else enter Bowen's office? Of course. What are you talking about? I definitely would have mentioned something like that to the police. Figured. But you would have seen it, right? If someone did enter? No, totally. I was reading a magazine they'd laid out, but it was like light reading. I was directly facing the door window, and when Bowen's office door opens, it swings all the way out to cover the window. Honestly, a bit of a design flaw if you ask me. But anyways, I I definitely took note every time that happened. What about the outside window? Were you looking through that? No, why? Is it relevant? Probably not. I guess I just wanted to ask. Alright then. Anything else? One other thing. You waited until the cops were already in the building before you left the waiting room, right? Uh-huh. So why'd you do that? I don't know, I had nowhere else to be that day. I wasn't told to leave. I guess that makes sense. That's about it. Great, hope that helped. Thanks for indulging me. No problem. Honestly, anything to take my mind off the situation. First time, cute. This time, kind of infuriating. Try to keep my cool, but yeesh, it's not easy. Sometimes it feels like my emotions are just moving my body for me. First time was cute. Cute? You should learn some breathing exercises. Huh? Yeah, breathing exercises. They've helped me a lot with, like, calming down and stuff. And they're not hard to remember. They help cool you down. A thing to help you breathing, huh? Sounds fun. I'll look into it. Okay then. And with that, my time with Tiger came to a close. Bunny's the next obvious one. Bunny was the actual cop on the scene, right? He ought to have some insights for me. I paid him a visit. You want to ask questions about the incident? I don't quite know how that'll help in this specific situation, but sure, fire away. Bunny stood nonchalantly leaning against a wall. He was tossing a small globe up in the air with his left hand. From what I could tell, he seemed to be left-handed. I guess one of the things that stands out to me is just how quickly we were able to find Bowen's body. Yeah, being able to recover it so quickly was rather impressive. But I'm wondering specifically how you were able to find it. It's really not that big of a mystery. First things first, when I heard about the missing person, I asked around to get an idea of the situation. I talked with Tiger, who was sitting near the scene, about when he was last seen, and she gave me the very useful tip that she hadn't seen him leave his office. I knew the office was empty, that's why she'd called me, but with the witness telling me that a man should still be in there, I thought it wise to really look around in there. When I saw the safe, when I saw that it was life-sized, well, I just had to check it out. And how'd you open it? I borrowed the master key from Sheep. Master keys? Yeah, they could lock and unlock pretty much anything in the building, including the safe. With them, you don't need to know the safe's passcode. Seems pretty irresponsible to let those also access the safe. I guess Bowen trusted Sheep. Alright then. I guess that all adds up. You pass. I pass. Well, good for me. Good for you. So I heard about everything Dog said from Snake and Dragon. Oh? Yeah, kind of explain the situation to the group. That's nice. I suppose you think I'm pretty scummy, huh? I mean, I'm sort of complicit in the whole corrupt police force thing, yeah? Dog wasn't lying about all that. It's pretty bad. They do blackmail you. I've been trying to help things from the inside, but I'm pretty much trash, huh? It depends. What does that mean? At the moment, yeah, you're looking pretty bad. But I don't think you can ever stray so far off the path you can't get back on it. You say you've been trying to help from the inside. Then if you actually, help from the inside, I think you can still turn things around. But I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm saying if you want to not be trash, that's what you've got to do. That's my girl. And just like that, I walked away from him. Alright, we'll just work our way down the list, I suppose. I still couldn't fit Dragon into the puzzle. For that reason alone, I needed to talk to her. She didn't look all too pleased to see me. Don't you have better things to do? Whatever, ask away. Thank you, Dragon. Yeah, just get on with it. I mean, to put it simply, are you sure you have no connection? We've done that. No connection at all. If I knew, I'd tell you, okay? Although... Okay, actually, I do know. You do? Yeah, I heard something from Dog during our stay in his dungeon. Apparently, he used to run by his bar pretty frequently around the time of the incident. Really? Yeah, and once he said that, I realized that I did recognize him. He was right. I was a semi-regular customer of his a while back. But his place was usually at the end of my bar crawls, not the start of them. I hardly remember anything from that time. But I mean, that's a connection. That's got to be why you were brought. So then something important must have happened there. You think I don't know that, dickwad? Ever since Dog told me that I've been focusing, thinking, she stole the MasterCard. They're all in on it. Something must have happened one of those nights, but it's just not coming to me. I think there's a chance I saw something, saw somebody, but despite my best efforts, it's not coming to me. But maybe somebody doesn't know that. Huh? Forget it. This whole thing's bullshit. It is. Still, I'm probably dealing with this better than you all. After all, I'm used to living in danger. Because you're a gang leader, right? Pretty much. You should really quit that. Oh really, thanks, I didn't think of that. I'm serious. Give me one good reason why I should stop. For your gang safety? My gang safety? How are they going to be more safe when I'm not leading them? Maybe you should tell them to quit it as well. That'd go over real well. I'm just saying, you got a lot of influence. You could do a lot of good. Or, if you keep going the rate you're going, you could get a bunch of your friends killed. Fuck you. What do you know about loss? The hell do you think gives you the right to stick your nose into my business? I sighed and then walked away. There wasn't much else I could do. Snake. Snake was a critical witness in all this. He must have some sort of insight. However, after I found him, I was met with something of a wall. My deepest apologies, Mouse, but everything I have to say on the incident has been spoken for. At the time, my mind was elsewhere, so it's not as though I was able to catch some keen details the police might have missed. I was rather zoned out, all things considered. I'm afraid my perspective won't add anything to your investigation. I sighed. I was afraid of this. Did you think this investigation was easy? That by just asking the right questions, the truth would be made clear to you? I was kind of hoping for that. I'm sad to say, Mouse, life rarely works so cleanly. It's messy, full of things you'd rather be a different way. Take my life, for instance. I spent so many years acting as a teacher, putting my art to the side. Because of that, I fear I'll never be able to reach my full potential. Ah, how regretful. Hasn't been a waste? Oh? So what if you've been doing art full time? You've been a teacher, presumably a good one. That's like a super important job. You're shaping the future generation. Isn't that enough? What a hopeful take on the matter. You make me long for simpler days. And with that seemingly dismissive comment, Snake dismissed me. So I left. Jesus! Before I could talk to anyone else, speakers began to blare. Ow, my ears! I guess this is the whole 2-minute warning the cat was referring to. Anyway, the point was made clearly. Jesus Christ! I hurried over to the classroom, which I woke up in. There I found the computer with the mouse image attached to it. Looking at the computer again, it was clear that someone had just cut out a generic mouse logo and attached it to the computer. It felt a lot cheaper than the previous production. Well, I guess that was to be expected. The whole thing had a different vibe. It got bashed together in however long it's been since we got out of the last one. It would have to, since it was being hosted by someone else. It had to be, because Brian was dead. Right? Or Brian's boss is dead, and Brian's doing this one. No, Ox told me that he had positively identified him in the explosion. The police had guaranteed it. The police. Before I could think about it anymore, the screen in front of me flashed to life. Time to input an action. Immediately I was a bit taken aback by how bare bones the whole production was. It was just a black screen with green text I could mouse over and click on. This really was a rush job, not made by the same people. However, there was no time to focus on such details. The input window was only 33 seconds. Shockingly low. So low as to prevent you from thinking clearly. First things first, time to read the communal table. Mouse of Hearts, Ox of Hearts, Tiger of Hearts, Tiger of Clubs, Tiger of Diamonds, Tiger of Spades. Okay, yes, the results of this communal pool were very disturbing. However, I didn't have time to contemplate it too much. My job was unchanged. I saw a mouse card. I needed to grab a mouse card. I clicked the take button, clicked take and then scrolled over the Mouse of Hearts. And like that, the computer shut off. Task done. Now, time to deal with the fallout of the communal table. I already had some thoughts about it, but I imagine the group would have plenty more. The hell was that? I made my way to the source of the noise, a classroom on the second floor, and after looking inside, I immediately turned around. The classroom was nicely decorated. The walls were all marked with decorations on the compass rose, an eastern wall, a western wall, etc. There was a big bookshelf by the door, desks for the students, and a desk for the teacher with a computer. But none of that was what drew my attention. What drew my attention was Dog's flaming corpse. A few others had gathered around the scene, and were experiencing similar reactions as mine. What was this? A moment's thinking led me to the answer. Of course, failure to input an action would result in execution. Dog being dead couldn't exactly input a move. Circle gets the square. Without the space in my head for another thought on the subject, I turned around and made my way back to the library, where people were meeting. The hell was that? You mean Dog's corpse getting blown up? No, not that. Who gives a shit about that? I'm talking about the dealt cards. I mean, what are the odds? Is everything doomed? Okay, hold on now. Let's figure things out first. Tiger, horse, sheep, rooster, monkey, you 5 were supposed to take tiger cards when they were placed on the table. Additionally, seeing the predicament, Snake or Pig might have decided to try and help out by also taking a card. So could everyone state specifically which cards they took? I grabbed the Tiger of Hearts since it matched with the other ones. I also simply grabbed the first tiger card I saw. That is the Tiger of Hearts. I thought we needed to try and rip up tiger cards, so I chose the Tiger of Diamonds. I decided the best was often saved for last, hence I took the Tiger of Spades. I also took the Tiger of Spades. I thought it the least likely card to be taken. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be seen as suspicious or anything, so I just didn't do anything. I just checked Snake. He didn't have a card. I wonder if that action determines the number of cards someone had at the start of the round or the end. That point was ambiguous. At any rate, I realised the predicament we may be getting ourselves into, and I decided to pick a tiger card, specifically the Tiger of Diamonds. Okay, so sounds like everything worked out, right? Multiple people took 3 types of tiger cards, so those should be destroyed. And nobody took the Tiger of Clubs, so we can destroy that next round. Then everything will be great. Alright. Good. So we're not screwed. Oh, Bunny. Must you always act so deceitfully? Huh? Oh, you're a clever one, aren't you? You should be aware that what you just described couldn't have happened. Wait, it couldn't have? Let's start with a simple fact. The distribution of those cards were anything but random. Well, I suppose the cat never explicitly stated that they would be random, so this is still above board. At any rate, they very specifically flooded us with the type of card we wanted to destroy in order to reduce our ability to destroy it. That's also the reason why the other cards were all ones people were tasked with collecting, to reduce the amount of potential crossfire. But then, here's a question. Why go through all this trouble if we're all working together? If there's already a traitor in our midst. Wait, really? Last time the traitors were assigned with a public announcement. We have no assurance that this will play by the same rules. And this game would be far too easy if there were no such traitor. Exactly. I'm surprised Horse of all people was the one to catch on. At any rate, if the cat is willing to deliberately send out cards in order to mess with us, there are various other things that wouldn't be explicitly against the rules. For instance, there's no rule against cat monitoring everyone else's choices and informing the traitor of which tiger card was left unclaimed. To put it simply, we are once again facing off against an unknown enemy. So I have to suspect, Bunny, why wouldn't you point all this out? Well, it's a little thing called tact, Snake. I would think a man like yourself would know about it. Oh, is that what that was? My apologies. Rushing to the assumption that there is in fact a traitor can be dangerous. For all we know, the cards were sent this way in order to cause chaos and disruption amongst ourselves. Let's think about how to proceed very carefully. I have an idea. Couldn't we just transition to another animal being our designated winner? I mean, it's not like there was any good reason for it to be tiger in the first place. Hey, we can make it horse, who hasn't had any cards dealt yet. But the cat is clearly watching our plans and trying to mess us up. Who's to say they won't do the exact same thing again? Well, this time we can come up with a more concrete plan on how to make sure the cards are destroyed. Now, there's a simpler method. Look, next round, we'll check if there is in fact a Tiger of Clubs on the communal table. If there is, there's nothing to worry about. If there isn't, we just need to find out who has it. Since there are 3 types of tiger cards that were taken specifically by 2 people, if one person didn't take the card they claimed, the other person would have received the card they attempted to take. Therefore, in the next round, if you have the card you attempted to take, you know who took it. With that in mind, the 6 people who took the tiger cards should check the 6 people who didn't, to see who has something they're not supposed to. Tiger, you can check me. Snake, you check dragon. Rooster check mouse, monkey check pig, horse checks bunny, and although it's likely a moot point, sheep can check dog. With this, we'll know exactly what happened to the card. The rest of us will give our tiger cards to try and raise their score. Give tiger our cards to try and raise their score. Even if all 4 of us do it, she'll only reach a score of 8, so we don't need to worry yet. Oh yeah, Ox, that's how you do it. New plan in place. We'll show that damn traitor that the Zodiac animals don't go down easily. The Zodiac animals? What are we, a sports team? No, it's just, a group name. But I mean, we could be a sports team. We could. We should. I'll pass. But Ox's plan makes sense. I think we should go with that. Very well then. That sounds acceptable. I guess we can go with it. And like that, the group order had been re-established. However, it felt markedly more fragile than before. Like a hair's breadth away from shattering. But that couldn't be helped. As the group split up, I decided to resume my investigation. We'll just keep working our way down the list. Horse's role in all of this was very heavily suspect. Why was he there in the first place? I felt like getting to the bottom of this would be an important point. You really want to talk about this? Why wouldn't I? Aren't there bigger concerns at the moment? This and that are connected. Horse merely raised an eyebrow. And if you say so. Anyways, what are you asking me about? Why were you meeting with Bowen in his office so early in the morning? I know you said you were discussing construction going on nearby his building, but that isn't the truth, is it? Nothing I know about Bowen suggests that that's how he'd handle such a matter. I suppose there's no harm in telling you here, now. In the past, I used to be a very different person. Because of that past, Bowen had on several occasions tried to scout me to do a certain type of work for him, or like an assassin. I refused. I explained to him that it wasn't really me who did all that stuff. It was the night demon, the night devil. He pushed the matter. That morning, he finally found the pressure point he needed to get me to agree to his unreasonable requests. He called me in to discuss it, because it was the type of thing that needed to be discussed face to face. When I left his office, I was convinced I would have to work for him. And then he died a few hours later. How lucky for me. Could you tell me what the pressure point was? Horse stood there in silence for a couple of seconds before responding. Mouse, if you'd committed a grave sin in the past, would you be able to live with yourself? It depends. What the sin is matters a lot here, don't you think? But even if it was really bad, it's not like I just give up on living, you know? I guess I don't know, accept it as a part of who I was? I'm just not sure, I need to know more. Horse didn't respond to this. Once it became clear he wasn't planning on responding anytime soon, I left him alone, leaving with more questions than answers. Sheep was Bowen's secretary. She should have known him the best. Certainly she had insights into the case. You wanted to talk about that? I mean, I guess. Yeah, I can answer your questions. Awesome. First up, when was the last time you had direct contact with Amadeus? It was a bit after Snake had come in. He talked with me a bit on the intercom, not really about anything productive. He didn't even bother to talk to you face to face in the morning. From the sounds of things, he was lying on the couch. He had a habit of doing things like that. That's an odd habit to have. Yeah, well, I don't think people really understand what Amadeus was like. I never met someone who was so confident at all times. And he had good reason, because no matter the situation, he was always in control. He knew how to strike at your weaknesses. He knew mine. Oh? Don't get me wrong, I could never condone murder, never ever. But I mean, I get why Aaron did what he did. Amadeus did a lot of things I don't like to remember. He was a very, 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 very bad boss. I can't imagine how he treated Aaron. Not too badly, I'd imagine, or else why'd the two of them go out to drink like that was something normal? Yeah, well, it's not like Amadeus always had it easy either. He had a pretty rough time of it when he was a kid. Who gives a shit? That's an understandable response. Say, Mouse, what would you do with a horrible past? How would you handle it? Me? Remember it. I wouldn't be able to resist. I wouldn't be able to help remembering it. Even if it's stuff you'd rather not remember? Oh, what, you're going to shy away from some memories just because they scare you? You're going to act like a baby? Look, life sucks. You go through a lot of shit. But I found that generally going through that stuff makes you better, stronger, you know? Yeah, you're right. It'd be foolish to just forget the past. Obviously. Anyway, I gotta get going. It's the past that makes us who we are today. Okay then. Curiosity sated, I left Sheep to herself. Rooster. Hadn't heard much from Rooster about this whole incident, but he was also there. Surely he had something to chip into this debate, right? I found him wandering in some auditorium, as though he was also looking for someone. Ah, Mouse. What was it? Want my autograph? Rooster, I thought we've established at this point that I'm not just some fan. Of course you're not just some fan. You're my #1 fan, right? I kid. You do know that a lot of this is a shtick, right? It's hard to tell sometimes. Anyways, what do you want to talk about? The Amadeus Bowen case. Is there anything you can tell me about it? That old thing? Don't get me started on it. Just thinking of that Amadeus asshole will get me heated. Look, I wasn't even brought in during the trial, so clearly nothing I saw was all that particularly relevant, huh? There's gotta be something you can tell me. I don't know what you're expecting from me, Mouse. I came in, sat down by Tiger, I had one of those water cups sitting out because I was thirsty, and I don't know, something in that thing just didn't agree with me. I had to go to the restroom. Stat. After I dealt with that situation, I returned to the waiting room. I was kept waiting for far too long. The time of a progeny is very precious, Mouse, don't forget that. So I stormed into his office, just to find he wasn't even there. I looked around the place, but then Sheep came in and started nagging me, telling me to leave. So you just looked around his office? Just like the architecture? Well, you know. So what if I was looking for something else? What's something else? Look, my parents are quite wealthy and influential. However, I ended up estranged from them when I stood by my morals, when I couldn't condone something they were doing. But from my conversation with them, it seemed like Amadeus might have been the real reason they were doing what they were. So is it such a crime to look in the office of a late asshole I was suspicious of? I didn't even find anything. Okay, settle down there, Rooster. Didn't mean to accuse you of anything. No, the fault's all mine. I apologize for losing control there. It's just these damn death games, they're starting to get to me. I thought I was cooler than this. You'd think they'd get to you after 2 or 3, you know? It's a reasonable reaction. Not for a hero. And you're a hero. Well, you tell me. Am I a hero? Sure you are. Rooster's eyes narrowed. Apparently I wasn't particularly convincing. Anyways, I gotta get going. Lots of things to do after all. Oh, good luck with all this, Mouse. I need someone to sort things out. If it's not me, it should be you. And just like that, our conversation was over. We're no hero either. We're just the smart one. Monkey was Brian's therapist. Surely her input on this would be insightful. I went to ask her about that. It's something of a breach of patient-client confidentiality, but at this point, I suppose that's a bit of a moot point. Anyways, I don't think you'll get much out of me. I tried to approach Brian on his own terms, but that appeared to have backfired somewhat. I should have stomped out his delusions at the root. You entertained his delusions? I let him talk out his ideas. It's often a useful tool to help people come to their senses on their own, but for some reason my guidance wasn't working. It was like he was somehow getting worse with every session. Worse? And it's more than just that. It was as though his theories, his delusions about what happened with his father and how corrupt the system and society was, they'd become more elaborate. No, elaborate's not the right word. Detailed. It was as though he was becoming more and more knowledgeable on the topic. Because he's got the information from fucking Bowen. You know, that was in the knife. And he was becoming more knowledgeable. He was becoming more convinced in his worldview. Monkey sighed. At some point I definitely should have shifted tactics. I knew I was dealing with a larger scale sort of case. But I thought that just meant I had to take my time with him. Not that it would lead to this. Anyways, I don't know if any of that was helpful to you. Oh, I think it was. Good to hear. Well, I'm going to keep investigating things on my end. You do that. But Mouse? No, Mary? My heart stopped for a second. It had been a while since someone had referred to me by my real name. Yes? Please don't overextend yourself. I know all of this is doing a number on you. I just don't want you to break. Well, yeah, well. I get the feeling I'll need a lot more sessions after this. Indeed. Perhaps we should try hypnotherapy again. Oh god, please no. 3 long and boring sessions were enough for me, thank you. What can I say? I was very curious if it would work. Well, you got your answer. That I did. I smiled. It was nice, through all the chaos and tragedy, that I had at least had Monkey to fall back on. Mouse? In all seriousness, are you doing okay? I don't know how I'm holding up. Oh? What an emotionally mature response. I'm impressed with your growth. My growth? The old you would never given such a measured response. Certainly not in a situation like this. Oh well, thanks, I guess. You're welcome, I guess. On a slightly awkward note, our conversation ended. After I left the classroom with an interesting fact under my belt, who to talk to? Pig. Pig was a journalist at the time. Not just that, she was perhaps the only totally unbiased perspective in all of this. Surely asking her about the incident could be useful. Ah, sorry, I don't know if you're really going to be useful about all that. If I'm really going to be useful. Shit. I think you did reporting on that at the time. I did. But that was a while ago, and I do a lot of reporting about a lot of things, on top of my other couple of jobs. The details I know are fuzzy. Probably a lot fuzzier than yours are. I don't think I can be any help at all, sorry. I sighed. I get if I just asked you about the case from thin air, how it'd be difficult for you, but after all this happened, and you got free, surely you go back and relook at the case, right? I've been way too busy for that. After all, this new case is way more mysterious. Alright, is there anything you know about the Zodiac Trial? Damn straight there is. There's a ton of weird details about the thing that don't make a lick of sense. Like, take Rooster and Sheep's kidnappings. The investigation surrounding it shows that happened at different locations, miles apart, but they happened a couple of minutes within each other. I mean, the timeline's rough and all, but with generous assumptions on all regards, it doesn't make sense that a single teenager could handle everything. That is concerning, and that's not all. Did you know that pretty much every aspect of the Zodiac race that wasn't automated could be controlled via a custom app Brian created? Really? Yeah, and he installed that app on 2 separate burner phones. Why 2? In fact, why put them on phones at all? He could also control it from the laptop that was found burned in his base. That is all strange. So yeah, maybe think twice before calling me useless? You were the one who called yourself useless. I mean, busy looking into stuff like this. I don't know how useful looking into it is though. It's super useful. And this pig just looked at me blankly. Seems like she didn't believe me. Then after a pause, Pig spoke in a quiet voice. But there is something useful I can do. I think. What are you talking about? Look, this whole game thing, it's an obvious sloppy job. Don't get me wrong, it's functional, you know, it works. There wasn't nearly the time and care put into this that was put into the Zodiac race. Look at the computers. I could tell the coding was done by an amateur. And so I think I can take advantage of that. Take advantage? How would you do that? The programs running on the computers, they happen to top the computer's usual functions. I had told these programs were made with using a very cookie cutter application. And that application has some exploits. It's possible I can get to screen behind the program. That is to say, access the actual computer. And with that I can contact the authorities. I could get help. Or if that fails, I could look into the programming of these programs, see if I can uncover anything. I don't know exactly. I just know I can do something, and I feel obligated to do something. Pig. Well, that's pretty dangerous. She could get blown up. Do it anyway. That sounds awesome, Pig. Definitely try that next opportunity you get. This is a chance to turn things on the mastermind's head. A chance to strike back. Exactly, I'm glad you see it my way. Alright then, I'm going ahead with this plan. I don't want to be complacent anymore. No, I can't be passive anymore. This is my life, you know. And my life on the line. I'm not just going to roll over and die. That's for certain. And with those oddly determined words, Pig walked away. Huh. It seemed to me that something had changed in Pig compared to the girl I met when I first woke up in that crappy high school. Good for her. That was pretty much everybody. As if on cue, I heard the 2-minute alarm ring out. Suppose this is the moment of truth, wasn't it? Time to find out what exactly we're dealing with. I made my way to the computer and watched it come to life. And I nervously read the card list. Mouse of clubs, ox of clubs, ox of diamonds, bunny of clubs, bunny of diamonds, dragon of clubs, snake of hearts, rooster of hearts, rooster of clubs. There you had it. We were dealing with an enemy. I can't say I didn't expect it. In theory, that enemy would be cut off at the pass now, as we find out their identity. But something about that felt unbelievable to me. I just didn't think it was particularly likely. Still, it's not like we could give up hope. Time to stick with the plan. I gave my mouse of hearts to Tiger. I prayed, hoping that was the right move. And then as the computer shut down, I left the classroom and started making my way to the library. Time to check the carnage. In the library, everyone just started looking at what was projected on the screen. Everybody's current scores were shown. Mouse is 0 points, ox is 0 points, tiger is 6, bunny is 0, dragon is 0, snake is 0, horse is 0, sheep has 0, rooster has 0, monkey is 0, dog is -1, pig is 0. Dog is -1 points. So this means Snake was right. There is a traitor. We're doomed. Okay, everyone, let's keep calm and think about this. What could this mean? It means a dog has the tiger card. Right? I mean, math isn't my strong suit or anything, but I believe the whole wheel thing. But if I understand the whole wheel thing right, a tiger card should be worth -1 point to him. So clearly he has a tiger card. How did that happen though? I looked at him, no one's disputing the fact that he was dead. Most likely someone gave him the tiger card. But what's the fucking point of that? Isn't that dooming us all? Perhaps that's the point. Or it's to simply sow discord. Or maybe the situation could be salvaged, right? If I can get that card from Dog, it can't be done. Didn't you hear the rules? Last time around, if someone operated your tablet, you'd be executed. But this time, operating someone else's computer gets you executed. In other words, there's no way to access his computer. And there's no way to force someone to give up a card. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? Rooster? You got an idea for us, don't you, buddy? Just because you'll be executed for doing something else's computer doesn't mean that you can't do it. And if you're quick enough, you could surely make at least one move. We just need someone expendable to sacrifice themselves for the group. So come on now, one of you volunteer. Surely there must be at least one among you who wishes to die a martyr. Rooster, I don't know if that's enough. What's more important is the investigation results. What did everybody who checked somebody find? Did anyone have more cars than they should have? Ox looked around the room only to be met with a wave of shaken heads. What? Surely one of you saw something. Unfortunately, Ox, these results appear to indicate that the check gives you the number of cards the person had looked at the end of the turn. Meaning somebody could have handed off their tiger card to Dog and would be none the wiser. It appears the search was fruitless. Well then. First things first, a tiger win is off the table. Tiger, you should try and unload those points. Give your most valuable cards to the people who get the least amount of points for them. The rest of us will, I don't know, keep checking the amount of cards each other has. I need to think. With an absent look in his eyes, Ox wandered off. And with that, the group began to scatter. Alright, we need to wrap this one up because we're out of time again. We are not at the end just yet, but we are definitely getting there. Someone is fucking with us, and I don't know who it is. It's obviously not going to be Dog, though, since he's, dead. And he was trying to protect us, even if he is a bit of a bastard at times. Bunny's still the one I don't trust the most. Just like at the beginning of the game. We'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.